Okay, welcome to episode 17 of Public Trust Review. This is about council behavior. And we're going to start with a quick overview of following the money that has been spent. And based on some research from today, the total is over $4.25 million. So $4,265,000 with over $2.2 million spent on the Becker pro-Becker anti-Gilmore campaign, but you can see $4.26 million is just unbelievable. We will continue to our council promises to residents. So Tom, I'm gonna hand this over to you in a minute, but just to set the stage here, the program in ethics and values is what all council members and candidates agree to voluntarily sign and agree to, especially when they're council members, to sign when they start on what they promise to deliver to the residents. And then I'll take it from there, and then we're going to go to the next slide where you can go over a couple of examples.
Okay, so what you're seeing here are the specific behaviors that connect to the ethical value of respect, which is admittedly vague. So we tried to make it as specific as we could. And these are example behaviors of what council members are supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do, the behaviors they try to avoid. And under respect, they're trying to avoid personal verbal attacks against council colleagues, interrupting, or in other ways, showing disrespect to the people who are your colleagues. And one way to tell is if you're being perceived as rude by other council members or by the public, especially. So we've been bothered by the behaviors that we've seen, and particularly because when the candidates were put up for election, the people who endorsed them had very positive things to say about them. And in this case,
this is the Chronicle. In this case, this is Chronicle. This was just a couple months ago.
Right, and this is Councilmember Hardy saying of Councilmember Becker, you know, people need to be respected, and our thoughts and different opinions need to be respected. And Anthony is the one to do that, which makes us think, okay, then we should be seeing respectful behavior from Mr. Becker.
And this next one, this next one is from the San Francisco Examiner. And I wanted to highlight, this is a sponsored paper, meaning you pay to get into this paper. It very clearly says the San Francisco Examiner's promotion in partnership with San Francisco 49ers. It's paid for by the 49ers and the DeBartolo Corporation. So, but go ahead and read what this says as well. Again, from Councilmember Hardy.
Yeah, and so again, it's somebody needs to be there and treat the rest of the council and the rest of the people who speak with respect. People need to be respected, and our thoughts and different opinions need to be respected. And Anthony is the one to do that. And so we want to show you an example and ask you whether you think this is an example of what we've just described. And again, is it respectful or not?
And to set this up on the left-hand side, we're just clipping what was you saw earlier from the ethics.
Right.
I am tired of the lies and the misinformation that is being fed to this community just because some people can't get their way. And by the way, it's not the 49ers trying to control the city council, it's Lisa Gilmore.
That was really uncalled for, honestly.
And as we've said before, the majority controls the council. The mayor does not control the council. And that's really clear in all of these. The second one we wanted to mention is about how you communicate. And respect is certainly part of communication. But there's other communication techniques that are used during campaigns that are not supposed to be used during council meetings. So listening, for instance, only to find flaws, or to go out of your way to show that you're right and others are not, instead of listening attentively and being open to different perspectives. And when Councilmember Park was running for office, the former Mayor Mahan, said that she believed that Councilmember Park could bridge the divide in city politics. He's the kind of person who respects others, treats others in a kind way, and knows how to talk to people and communicate. So we wanted you to look at this example.
And again, just to reset this up,
Yep.
the behaviors on the left, this is what you should avoid. These are the avoid negative behaviors.
And actually, before you show it, this is a response to a public comment that Kirk Vartan made at one of the last council meetings
That's right.
as a member of the public.
In response to Kirk Vartan, who was a self-proclaimed assistant or advisor to Mayor Lisa Gilmore, and I don't know if he has to register as a lobbyist when he speaks in here.
Yeah, the so-called advisor or counselor to the mayor, Mayor Lisa Gilmore, the language is meant to find flaws and meant to diminish a member of the public who has just made a public comment. And is there another segment?
We have a couple more.
Okay.
I'll click through.
Yeah.
Right, but if Kirk Vartan, self-proclaimed assistant to Mayor Gilmore.
And
Yeah,
and there's a couple more too, but go ahead.
Okay, self-proclaimed assistant. And the fact is that Kirk was named an assistant for cooperative. Go ahead, Kirk.
Yeah, well, it was specifically a special advisor to the mayor,
Right.
focused on small business and cooperative and worker cooperatives.
Right.
Initiative.
So he wasn't self-proclaimed anything. This was a position that the mayor invited him and the city invited him to do.
Yeah, over almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And so here's another example.
Right, I'm against corruption, and Kirk knows this, and at some point, I don't think he understands that.
Again, brief
Okay, so
comments,
I
public
appreciate-
presentations, brief
understood.
comments to the public.
So I'm just going to state, not an attack, but I appreciate that Kirk has found his position as an assistant and as an advisor to the mayor.
Councilmember Park, please.
As, you know,
Stop the attacks,
Okay,
please.
but I appreciate the.
Yeah. So this is not the way the people's business is supposed to be conducted. And what most councils will do is listen to what the public has to say. Even if they are perceiving it as an attack, they listen, right? And we've seen lots of examples actually where the mayor, and if you watch most other council meetings, you don't see this kind of thing where the public gets attacked for a comment that it made. Because if you do, and you attack the public, after a while, nobody comes and speaks. And council members are supposed to listen attentively to what the public has to say, whether they agree with it or not.
And this is the last one we have here.
Yes.
Councilmember Park?
Yeah, I just want to point out, again, Kirk Vartan, self-proclaimed advisor to the mayor. And
Yep.
Yeah. Self-proclaimed, self-appointed, those are the terms that were used during this discussion.
And the thing that's most concerning, it seems to me, is criticism is not necessarily an attack. And they perceive everything that's even remotely critical as an attack, and they attack in return, which may be fine during a political campaign. It's not, but if it's acceptable at all, it's during a political campaign. From the dais, it's not acceptable, and it's not what they promised they're going to do. We're going to keep on doing this program even after the election. So I want to make clear a couple of things. We did not intend and do not intend to attack anyone. We do intend to be critical, and we have been critical based on the promises that candidates and council members have made to the public. And most people don't watch the council meetings or understand a lot of times what they're talking about, but we do. And so we're trying to highlight the ethical issues by focusing on behavior and by focusing on facts as best we can determine them. We're not part of a political campaign. We're part of an ethical campaign. And I think that just needs to be said, because we will continue to look at behaviors and facts after the election's over, no matter who gets elected.
Yep, and I would underscore that. Again, it's if something being said is critical, that doesn't mean you're being attacked. It's we're trying to hold people accountable to their actions and what's been said and what they say. That's the intent of what we're trying to do. If that comes off as an attack, that is not the intent. It is, we are holding people accountable to their words and actions.
Right, and we will hold anyone accountable to their words and actions if we perceive that there's an ethical issue that's involved. And in this campaign, we have pointed out a couple of times on the Gilmore side, but there have been very few ethical problems that we've seen from the materials that the public has seen.
All right,
So-
and that is a wrap for our show. And so we thank you for watching.
And we encourage you to vote for whoever you choose.